Hey, what's up everybody? The Tall Bad Wolf here, and today, this is the 50th anniversary of the Patterson-Gimlin footage. Now, if you don't know what the Patterson-Gimlin footage is, it was shot in October the 20th, 1967, as Roger Patterson shot 953 frames of film of one of the best evidence in history. But the problem is, on January the 15th, 1972, a month before he was going to turn 39, he passed away. But Bob Gimlin was with him at the time, and he survived for 50 years of this. And as Patterson had to confess, that was a creature on film. And Gimlin kept out of the controversy for over decades, until the 21st century came. And also history came. For him surviving for 50 years in his life for this, and being 80 years old to this, as he is today, all I know is when God is going to take him and when he's going to go, I just hope he's saved. And one of these days when he goes to heaven, if he does, he might meet his old friend Roger Patterson. And still, the history doesn't start from there. It starts back in 1958 as a construction worker near Bluff Creek, California, known as Jerry Cruz, found a cast footprint measuring abruptly 17 inches long. But in 1966, a year before the footage came, Patterson made a book, or wrote one. I forgot the name of it, but he wrote 20 pages of a book out of more than 14 pictures of drawings, and several of them of maps that talk about a creature and other things. I couldn't find the book and find pictures of what the pages were, so I'll never know. Still, it looked famous at the time when he shot the footage, but in 1970 to 71, or one of those years, someone called him up and asked him for a polygraph test to take. And once again, he passed because he was telling the truth. He didn't hoax the footage. He knew where he was. So, if that was a person in the costume, he didn't become involved in it. So they know he wasn't starting that. But Bob Gimlin believed it's a creature as well. But in 2004, he did an interview recounting that day. And episode 5 of Monster Quest, season 1, and he actually talked about it. And I'm going to show you the video right now. Check it out. Now, if you want to know where it is, it's at 5 minutes when the video started. So just remember that.
Ha! The weather was great in October, so Roger said, let's ride back up in some of them areas. We rode up that way, up that creek bed away from our camp, which was probably a couple of miles. As we came around, there's a big downfall tree with a root system in the dirt, like a crow's nest, logs jammed together. As we came around that, then, of course, the horses just blew up, and this thing was standing right alongside the creek, on the opposite side of the creek that we were on. It was massive. In the commotion of trying to get the camera out of the saddlebags while his horse was jumping around, I was watching the creature, and it was walking away. Well, the time we got the horses kind of settled down, and Roger ran across the creek, and Roger had the camera to his eye, and then he stumbled kind of and fell down on his knees, and then he got back up, and he ran over to a log that was a little ways away and stabilized himself on the log. And at that time, I rode across the creek on my horse and just sat over there. The creature makes a slight turn with its shoulders and kind of looks back. That's when I rode across the creek on the horse. That's when it made that gesture. So I was looking at it from the back. There were some trees or vegetation that was getting between Roger and the creature, and he wanted to get a better and closer, so he relocated, and when he did, he asked me if I would cover him, which meant get the rifle and see, you know. There was no intent to shoot this thing at all. Then the creature just kept right on walking.
Okay, so at the time, Gimlin had no idea how much the creature weighed, and as they did found footprints that day, he actually measured to say 350 pounds, which it took a big man back then. When they estimate it would have been 700 so pounds is what they told him from a different year. So he might have been halfway right. But suddenly, a year later, 1968, a movie came out known as Planet of the Apes. And the costume designer that made the Planet of the Apes costumes witnessed and looked at the video and see if he could make anything like that. Of course, he couldn't and believed it wasn't a person in a costume. And then, until decades later, Patricia Patterson kept the film forever until Bill Munns came around, found the footage, and at the time, the footage was really old and blurred out, and they wanted to recover it frame by frame. And Bill Munns did everything. I give Bill Munns credit. I salute him for everything because him making gorilla costumes as well to see if this is a fake, measuring every single size that this was a person, measuring animation stuff. He's done everything, and I give him credit for what he's done to make this possible if this was a creature in a costume or a person that was a Bigfoot. I don't know. I'm just saying things oppositely. But still, he's shown himself what he was doing. But other people came across, but in the 21st century, other people came by, and some people were still working on it, thinking if this was a person. Some people say that, critics say that's a man struggling in a heavy monkey suit. And until they thought it was real, some people witnessed that this was a female. Because if you've seen it in close-ups, you can see that the biceps and the part of the body had breasts. And crazy it is. And they measured it to be 7 feet 6.5, a monstrous creature, and saying that it's a female. And in the 1964, there was actually another thing where this site was located, and I'm going to show you this right now. Okay, now the details said it on the second paragraph, said that the footage was filmed alongside Bluff Creek, a tributary of the Klamath River, about 25 log-in road miles northwest of Orleans, California, in Humboldt County. The film site is roughly 38 miles south of Oregon and 18 miles east of the Pacific Ocean. For decades, the exact location of the site was lost, primarily because of regrowth of foliage in the stream bed after the flood of 1964. It was rediscovered in 2011. It is just south of a north-running segment of the creek in Fort Maui, known as the Bowling Alley. And if you want to know why it's called the Bowling Alley, in 2011, the BFRO expeditioners, known as Finding Bigfoot, known as Matt Moneymaker, Cliff, Renee, and Bobo, he's a great guy, I like him, and Bob, they went to that same site and they found it. And almost after 50 years, they found where the site was. And if you haven't seen the episode and how it was shaped, it looked like a bowling alley because you can see a water and a creek. You can see different changes of how the path looked. It looked much smaller, but in the film it looked a little bit bigger. But you don't know what to do because it's not going to be the same. Things have to change. So that's the way it goes. Still, the details have took on a little bit of other things. Like, they found footprints, like I said. I don't know if they cast them, but they did found them. And at the time, when it came along, they found a little bit of other things, thinking that it was a hoax. But around the years that came, when in the 21st century came, people managed to get close-ups of the face. Now, one other thing, until I show you one more video to end this up, that the 50th anniversary of the Gimlin footage and the Patterson, for the record, people are just going to say that is a Bigfoot. this is just old news, there's nothing to talk about, and why am I filming this? Well, look at this. If you guys think that this video is a hoax, and because that this was measured a 15 millimeter camera lens is how when Patterson filmed it. So the original film we just saw of Gimlin filming, that was a recreation making of other people that recreated it. The original film is actually much wider and a little bit hard to see the creature, but there's going to be one more thing that you people might have to know, that until the 20th century came, ever since, even other people witnessed that if this was a creature in a gorilla suit, it would have to be really hard to fit in one. Look up season 3 episode 19 of Bigfoot Evidence, and Bill Munns is going to show you if you can fit a head in a gorilla suit. And it's unbelievable how he did, and I salute him for everything. But there's one more thing I like to show you guys, that the craziest thing is, if you people think that this is still a hoax, let me show you this. Okay, so if you're probably wondering, now these two guys were actually looking at the legs of the creature in close-up, but they couldn't find anything. So now they're going to pay attention to the face and the head, and you guys better pay attention to this, because this is going to shock you so much if you think this is a hoax.
On this image, it's just the full color image digitally pulled off the film.
But as they focus their attention on the subject's head, they make an amazing discovery.
And as you look at the enhanced one, you can see the level of detail has been pulled out. And
you can individual parts of the face.
Yeah, you can resolve the individual parts of the face, the nostrils, the mouth.
When the original film is blown up to a headshot of the creature, the image becomes just a fuzzy blob. But when the enhanced digital image is blown up to the same size, the new details emerge.
You could see the eyelids move up and down. That's muscle there around there, the circular muscle called the orbicularis oris. Particularly well developed was the masseter, this big muscle over here that moves the jaw.
And this is the most interesting sequence of the mouth opening and closing. What's interesting in that it shows the movement of the mouth and the sides of the face and the lips. So there's quite a bit resolved, and there's actually a lot of detail that is consistent from frame to frame, and you get a consistent facial morphology looking at multiple frames.
Alright, there you go guys, Tall Bad Wolf signing out. If you think this video is a hoax, what can you say about that? Because back in the 60s, I like to say one more thing until I end this video. Back in the 60s, they could not afford the kind of fabric or other type of furs that can make a costume like that. Just like I said, Planet of the Apes was the first movie in 1968, and those costumes were not even the same. They were just monkey types and other things, if that's what people are wondering. And if you ever think that there is such thing as a Bigfoot, this has to be the best evidence ever. And if it has been a prank for 15 years, it's one of the best pranks of all time. And I just like to say happy birthday, Bob Gimlin. His birthday was 2 days ago on the 18th of October, 2 days before they shot the creature that they filmed. And whenever he's gonna go, and whenever Jesus is gonna take him there and to heaven if he's saved, I just hope to God bless him. He's lived everywhere and survived everything, and just like I said once before, I say again, I just hope he ever meets his older friend Roger Patterson up there, if he is. And with that being said, hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe, join the Wolf Pack, join the Bigfoot Army, join the Minion Army, join the Bronies, it doesn't matter. And Tall Bad Wolf signing out for now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.